Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Point. It is Thursday, June 18th. I knew that. I'm always shocked we're in June still. But it's June 18th. It's a Thursday. Hopefully your day is off to a good start. I know it's been crazy in the news, everything going on overnight in Atlanta. We're not going to talk about that today because we're going to have fun. We just talked about that right before. So that's what we talked about Atlanta already. So we had Stan Campbell on in the first hour. Hopefully you're able to catch a little bit of that. I understand Facebook was giving some issues, but our YouTube apparently was running fine. I don't know. Facebook, we're blaming you. But I'm excited for our guests. As you guys know, last Thursday, we had the retired Air Force police officer, actor / singer. Apparently, he's also a comedian. Phil Paz was on. And now we are going to have, well, I first found out about Phil from the Suki Scott Show. So we're going to welcome them to the show right now. Let's just get going. So let's welcome everybody to the show. Oh, there we go. Look at this. See the DJ over there?
I'm just mixing. I'm just mixing some tunes. I'll be there in a second. Okay, we're rolling now. I'm doing a whole other podcast. I'm mixing songs right now.
Oh, so you're a DJ. You're SoundCloud DJ like everyone else?
Early 70s disco. Suki knows. It's 12 noon, classics with Scotty Scott.
Classics all the time. How you doing, Eric? How's everything going?
It is going good. It's sunny in the Pacific Northwest. The sun is out, which is amazing for us because we spend here. Oh, you guys see, it's like reverse. Like we're supposed to be cloudy. Like traditionally it rains here till July 5th. Mm-hmm. Then it turns off, and then it's the most beautiful place I've ever lived till about October, because we've got mountains, fresh air, not a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But how are you guys doing? I know I was just on the show yesterday. I loved your guys' show last night. The psychic was quite interesting.
He was incredible, wasn't he?
Right? Like
Eric, after you were on with us last night, I said to Suki, I didn't even know anybody lived in Oregon. I just thought that was
it's true.
That is such the arrogance of New Yorkers speaking right now. Arrogant New Yorkers. See, this is why we get bad scoop from everybody in the country, Scotty. Because of this is how we think. Like the world revolves around us.
And it's funny because I have New Yorkers who say, I didn't even know anybody lived in New Jersey. Where is that?
Scotty, why is your mic muffled right now? I don't understand, but
my mic is muffled?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do I sound muffled to you?
You're muffled.
Oh, hold on. You know what? Hold on. Maybe I didn't switch the mic over.
It's probably from you kissing your Emmys.
Oh, you know what? I know why I'm muffled. Hold on.
I didn't. All right. I just wanted to say.
Like he's new at this. Like he's never done this before.
How's
so much better.
Sound?
Much better.
Oh, it doesn't sound like you're talking through a tin can with a piece of string from New York to Oregon.
I'll start everything over again. Hold on.
How's
everybody doing?
Oh, it's good. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in. I was seeing that there's already a crowd lined up at Tulsa. What was that?
I know. I was saying we went to bed last night. It seemed like the world was semi-okay.
Right?
And then
Did you guys see the band singing the Vote Trump band? Did you see those people?
Yeah, there's a lot of diversity in that band, wasn't there?
That was funny, man. That was very funny.
And also Supreme Court making a huge decision on DACA. Incredible.
Yeah, that was huge. That's the second time that the Supreme Court in 1 week has done some major decisions. And it's funny, there are people who are appointed by the current president that are voting for these measures. So it's pretty, it's kind of ironic, right? And then you have this whole Bolton book issue, which is,
I already ordered my copy just so everybody knows, because I need to know what's going on and I need to know it for myself. Hopefully it won't be blocked because obviously there's a lawsuit in place. So it'll be interesting to know, but the analysis of, the president through Bolton's eyes is going to be very interesting,
Right.
Well, you want me to read the review from President Trump of the book? I have it right here.
Please do. Go.
Here you go, guys. Let me read you the quote from our president on when wacko John Bolton went on Deface the Nation and so stupidly said that he looked at the Libyan model for North Korea, all hell broke out. Kim Jong-un, who we were getting along with very well, went ballistic, just like his missiles, and rightfully so. He didn't want Bolton anywhere near him. Bolton's dumbest of all statements set us back very badly with North Korea. Even now I asked him, what the hell were you thinking? He had no answer and just apologized. That was early on. I should have fired him right then and there. Well, that's not all. Hold on. Not done.
Oh, sorry.
One more. Here's the book review. You ready? This is the greatest advertisement for the book of all. Bolton's book, which is getting terrible reviews, is a compilation of lies and made-up stories, all intended to make me look bad. Many of the ridiculous statements he attributes to me were never made pure fiction, just trying to get even for firing him like the sick puppy he is. Dope, dope, dope.
Yeah. Didn't he just say the same thing about Colin Powell?
Everybody anyone he's ever fired?
I mean, I think Mary Trump's book is going to maybe be one up on this. That's going to be very interesting. I need to read that book too. There's lots of books on my summer reading list. I didn't know that my summer reading list was going to be longer than my own son's.
Suki's going to be very busy on our off days.
I'm making sauce right now, Scotty. I got the Brajol.
Eric,
I got it going right now.
Eric, can we use your platform this afternoon to promote Suki's show on TLC? The dating
we were just
show.
Getting to that. I was going to talk about. Not that I have this issue. I'm married, and I don't have this. But I've been hearing about your show, and I wanted to learn more about it because it just sounds.
Thank you, Scotty. The show is actually starting up again on Monday, June 22nd. So you guys have to watch it. It's on TLC. It's called Find Love Live. It usually follows right after 90 Day Fiance, which, as you know, is a mega hit for TLC. And if any of you have ever not seen 90 Day Fiance, it follows people who basically fall in love online, either come here to the United States or the person goes to whatever country the other person is at, and they try and make a go of their relationship. Basically, here in America, you have 90 days to apply for the H-1 visa, which is status that you are both together and are going to get married. And I think you have to get married, actually, before that 90 day is up. But what Find Love Live is doing, it's a concept in which basically you have a live show, and it's kind of like this: little boxes, people floating around, and it's people looking to connect during this like really awkward time of social isolation. So the show is about connection. We have two singles. It's an hour show. A half an hour is dedicated to each one, and then there's like sort of this elimination process. And I'm the host, and I play a fast quiz here. I tell you about the person. We try to get people excited. We try to get some good, sexy comments going, if not sexy, provocative in some way where we can expand upon it. And it's fun. It's TLC's first kind of foray into live television, and I'm the host. So it's very exciting.
You have a question here. Debbie Hollinger asked, is it still on at 11 p.m.? Hopefully
yes, Debbie, it is on at 11. It's just moved to Mondays, not Sunday nights. It's now Mondays. So it'll be like that all the way through the summer. And then hopefully, things go well. We'll re-up and have a couple of more shows, and it'll be cool. So, yeah, if you can't do it, it's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will probably have more information when it airs all over the country, but it's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But then do the math, it's 8 p.m. on the West Coast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
We have TVs in Oregon, so yes, we can.
No, just check your local.
I was going to ask that question.
We do. It's amazing. We even have internet. Dial-up,
cable.
AOL.
Do you guys have cable and satellite?
Shocking, we do. I mean, it's amazing. Hey, we're not that bad. I live 5 miles from Nike headquarters, which it's cool to know the story. I mean, it is fascinating. One of my favorite books to read that doesn't have anything to do with politics is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, which is just amazing. My son
and I read Shoe Dog this year because he's a sneakerhead. And I was like, well, let's talk about the biggest sneakerhead, kind of changed the game. His name is Phil Knight. And we got into his whole synopsis of when he was in college, how he basically wrote this paper. From that paper, it was derived into, what happened with Nike. I mean, he opened it. Yeah. Scotty, it's fascinating. I'm just going to tell you.
It's a great book.
Is it Nike or Nike? What's the final word on that?
I think it's Nike.
It's Nike.
Is it Nike? But was his name pronounced Nike or Nike?
Well, his name's Phil Knight, but
Knight.
Nike actually comes. It's a Japanese word, I believe, or a Greek word for
It's
like.
a Greek word.
Greek word.
From the goddess of air.
The goddess of shoes.
No, that would be me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some sneakerheads I've met that probably can compete with about any of us. It is funny, like when we talk about Nike, right? And you see Colin Kaepernick back in the news again. And during this whole event, which, by the way, it's funny, we got some book reviews from our president and his 100-word vocabulary. But did you see where he said just the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where he was like, hey, if Kaepernick makes it back in the NFL, it's okay if he's good enough. Right. What's funny is they were all trashing Nike and saying Nike didn't like veterans, which as a veteran, I was always like, what? Phil Knight and the other co-founder of Nike are Army vets. I'm like, yeah, pretty sure they don't hate veterans when they're a veteran-based company. It's just funny with Cap. I mean, Scott, let me ask you, you're a sports-minded person like me. I mean, Cap's not a bad QB. I know we talked about this on your show last night, but I mean, what are your thoughts on him?
Listen, I saw some stuff today. Oh, Cap may go to the Chargers. That'll make the Chargers relevant again. Listen, yes, they'll make them relevant again if that's the case, because now every owner wants to talk to Cap, because that's now going to be the popular thing to do, where it was the unpopular thing to do. Whether or not he could definitely be a QB on teams in the league. He's better than guys that teams have. Does that mean if he goes to whatever team he goes to that makes them an instant contender for even the playoffs? I have no idea. I haven't seen the guy play. They say he's not as good even in practice as he used to be when he took the Niners to the Super Bowl. But it's just funny to me how it was taboo to even talk about bringing him onto your team. And now every owner's like, hey, maybe we should look good. Let's bring Cap on, because everybody's going to be kneeling this year in the NFL, because all the players have said, I'm going to kneel now that it's cool. Now that it's cool to kneel, everybody's going to kneel. So everybody wants to talk about bringing Cap on their team. It'll be a circus either way at first. Once everything goes, you know how everything works. Once he's on a team and he's playing by week 3, it's no big deal anymore that Kaepernick's your quarterback, especially if he's doing crappy. Then everybody's going to be like, see, we told you he can't play anymore. So it's,
it's kind of like the Tebow effect, right?
Yeah. It's the Tim Tebow effect. Absolutely.
But I mean, here's the deal with Colin Kaepernick, right? It's kind of interesting. We'll go circling back to Nike. Didn't he do a halftime commercial that was basically vilified by the media as like, why would Phil Knight even bring back Colin Kaepernick as one of their brand sponsors again? He doesn't stand for America. I mean, it seems like every turn that happens with this guy, he just never gets a break. So I think even if the Chargers do sign him, I mean, I don't think and if he doesn't do well, I mean, it's just going to be like another. I mean, it's like he's a lose-lose situation for him. I feel bad because he got stolen his career. Not only did he but he got vilified for creating a movement which America wasn't ready to see yet. And now that, 4 years later, America is willing to kind of have a consciousness about it. And he's remained silent. I mean, I'm like waiting for him to talk because I want to hear what he has to say and what he has to say about the training, right? Didn't he go on I'm not a sports person, but didn't he go out on training for what is that called? The Binds or something like, what's that called?
Yeah, he did a private workout.
Combines, I was gonna say concubines, whatever that's called. I don't know. I'm something concubine. I was like something like that.
Concubine, that would be a much more
you know what I'm saying? Like the guy just can't get a break. So I don't know. I can't imagine him wanting to come back in.
Oh, he wants to play. I mean, but then you got Cam Newton. He still doesn't have a job. So you have two quarterbacks in there, very much just like, they're very much alike in QBs, but it's just unfortunate to see either one of them not be in the league. I hope Cap gets an opportunity. You're right about that commercial. That commercial was powerful. It wasn't just Cap.
Incredible.
It was amazing. I mean, I thought it was great. I know there was people, the same person with the 100-word vocabulary, again, didn't like it, and neither did his friends. They were burning Nike shoes. And I just you got to love Nike, right? When you think of Nike, when it comes to marketing and PR, that is a company that's just like, we know our demographic, if you don't like us, we don't care. We have other people who adore us, and they did quite well, right? There are people who are like, look at their stock. And like one day the Nike stock dropped, and then like the next day it was like back to the roof again. And Nike's just like, we're good. But so what else is going on for you guys? You guys are like my TV personalities, and this.
Eric, Suki and I are very famous and very popular.
Can you guys send me an autograph then? I need one. Put on my wall.
Yeah, listen, you know what's funny? We started doing this show like once a week together, and then once the pandemic hit, we said, it's easy to go on every night now that we're in our homes, and it just turned into this like snowball effect where we were having guests on every night. Now it's like, okay, well now we have to have guests on every night because people expect guests, and it's just been a lot of fun. We just have fun. We just BS with each other. We go through the news a little bit. We have fun with the guests. And the great thing is we have some of our old connections from when we were doing the morning show over at Pix 11. So at first it was easy to just, contact celebs and get them on. And the best thing is, right, Suk, all the celebrities, they're not really doing much right now. Everybody's sitting home looking for some stuff to do. So kind of gets them out of the element for a little bit.
I think the pandemic was a perfect storm where I think Scott and I wanted to create a platform where we weren't necessarily contributing to the noise, because there was a lot of noise, and creating like a, mental health sort of, fiasco, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, every day seeing numbers for COVID, every day talking about, how we're not going to get out of this situation. So the two of us decided to keep this like a political free kind of platform. I mean, obviously we dip our toe in it, but we dip our toe in basically everything. Scott likes to dip his stick in a couple of other things, but
absolutely. I'm always dipping, Eric. I'm always,
he double dips sometimes. I mean, so anyway, we try to walk the line, but not really, cross over the line. I think our place is just about making people laugh, connecting to our viewers, creating a place that's sort of a safe space where everybody can be silly, and not silly like, we're comedians or anything like that, but have moments in a conversation that aren't so heavy. I feel like, the world has gotten to a place right now, sometimes it's hard to kind of absorb. And Scotty and I are really easy absorption. We're like one quick wipe, like 1 hour. We just absorb.
Oh my God. So let me ask you both. Everybody's watching Netflix. We've had 3 months to be trapped in our house. What are some of your favorite things if you binge watch Netflix, what's some of your favorites that you've watched during this wonderful lockdown?
Well, listen, you got your Ozark, some of the classics. I think I watched all of Dave Chappelle's stand-up comedy, which, I really got in touch with Chappelle. He's amazing, that guy. I didn't realize how amazing he really was. Always heard how great he was, and I never really got into him until the pandemic. And I think I've watched some of his stuff twice now, just because he's so friggin' smart and funny the way he presents everything. And listen, Eric, my wife has been upstairs in her bedroom. When she binges something, she doesn't leave the bedroom until the show is over. She gets so sucked in, like with Ozark. I told her, you got to, right, Suki, you got to watch Ozark. You got to watch Ozark.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. I mean, he keeps telling me to watch it. I haven't done yet. I mean,
yeah, all 3 seasons she watched in like 4 days. I was sticking food under the door, and she doesn't come out. She just watched Money Heist, which is another really good one. A lot of action if they dub in the voices, but it's fine. And she hasn't left the room in 3 months. It's unbelievable.
I have not binged. Isn't that sad? I was binging a lot on news, like a crazy news person that I am. Then I watched Mindy Kaling's thing on Netflix because I'm Indian.
You are?
I am Indian.
Oh.
I'm Indian.
No.
And so I loved it. I think it's Never Have I Ever, I believe. It was really good. I binged it. It was like I was back in high school. It felt good to just kind of be like, kind of mindless. Nobody with emotional drama, no emotional unpacking, no sociopath living next door, no meth dealer on the corner. I just don't want to see it. That stuff is just way too heavy for me. I want something like when it goes back to the 80s when my life was like a little bit more at peace. So I don't like drama where it's like everybody is like a crazy person. Cause then I think everybody's crazy, because that's how I think like life imitates art, and then I'm going to look at you like you're crazy. The other thing that I did was I did do The Crown. I'm like 4 years too late, but I enjoyed that. And the rest of it is just a lot of cooking and cleaning and a lot of homeschooling. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, well, we're kind of similar in that. See, I got in trouble because I love documentaries, which my wife says makes me like 80, which I didn't know that, but apparently it does.
Yeah, I love documentaries too.
I mean, I'm a newsie. I mean, so I was like, oh, I want to watch this. Like, I didn't know about RFK. Netflix has an amazing documentary on him. I didn't know I'm going to age myself and say how young I am, but in 92, I was in high school. So when the riots took place in 92, I wasn't in tune with it like I am now in my 40s.
Right, sure.
So I watched it and I was like, wow.
Yesterday was the anniversary of OJ, everybody.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Guys, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was flipping through last night on ESPN. They had a 30 for 30 on the Bronco chase and all the other sporting events that were going on at the same time.
Oh, really?
It was why, because you had the Knicks and Rockets were in the NBA finals. And I remember standing in a bar watching that, and they had the split screen with Al Michaels and Costas, and everybody was going back and forth. But they showed you like footage of like Costas getting ready at Madison Square Garden. You're going to throw to me first? Are we going up to Tom Brokaw? Tell me how we do. And it was really wild. They had all that extra footage. And then you see an OJ in the Bronco and you're hearing him talking to the negotiator on the phone. And I just, you forget about all that stuff. And when Rob Kardashian, they were reading OJ's, quote unquote suicide note at the podium.
Yeah. And his friend Al was trying to talk him into like, pull over.
Al was, and all the people were gathering on the bridges over the highway. Yeah. Go OJ. Nobody had phones. It was wild because I'm looking at the crowds and not one everybody would have been like this, right, with their phones. Everybody just had signs. He would come down the street. They would chase the truck. The police were all over the place. It was insane.
Yeah, that was the first of many police chases that we have all witnessed. Now,
right? And it wasn't even a
whole genre of TV.
Yeah, it was just Al driving, at like grandma minivan pace. But OJ's about to shoot himself, and then as you're watching this, you're like, oh no, he's going to shoot himself. But then you remember he doesn't shoot himself. And it was, it was just the drama of it was just phenomenal. I mean, it was pretty cool to watch it again.
I mean, I remember my first job as an ABC affiliate. I worked in Utica, New York. And I'm like, guys, I think this is important. OJ's threatening to kill himself. And the guy's like, no one cares about that. We got programming going on. It's just we're going to keep on with our programming.
Yeah, Three's Company's on at 9. We got syndicated. We paid $1 gazillion to Three's Company.
Meanwhile, when Scotty and I were on the morning news together, I mean, something would happen, and they're like, "We got to break in. We got to put a breaking news stinger. We got to go right now. Go, go, go!
Gotta go. Gotta no
It
matter
was
what.
Funny how for OJ, how long they took to break to it, right? When you talk about, Costas, one of the most amazing voices in sports. Period.
Oh, yeah.
And like just him talking about it was amazing. And then you go to Brokaw, who has another, great fatherly voice. I'm thinking of that right now in my head going, talk about awesome, right? From Costas to Brokaw. I mean, if you want somebody to narrate a high-speed chase, there you go. Those are the two that you want.
You throw Al Michaels in there, and I mean, you got three of the best voices. And Brokaw, it's amazing how he barely moved his mouth when he spoke.
He doesn't move his
mouth. NBC News, O.J. Simpson is on the freeway.
Yes, you're right, Scotty. He never opened his mouth. He didn't enunciate. You never saw his teeth. You're right.
And then Peter Jennings on ABC, and it was just Jennings. If you get a chance to watch that, take a look. And they were and like I said, Jack Nicklaus was his last day playing in PGA. And then they had some soccer, World Cup thing going on, and they had all these different.
And the Rangers were in the Stanley Cup.
It was the Rangers parade after they just won the Stanley Cup. So you got all these things, Sue, going on the same day. Ken Griffey Jr. is blasting home runs left and right in Seattle. This new guy, Ken Griffey, who was amazing. And they're showing you all these things that were going on that Sunday. And all of a sudden, everything was like, okay, we got to cut away. But
if you really think about how innocent our country was back then, I mean, it was like a moment. It was like such a paradigm shift. as to who we are today in 2020. 30 years ago, where were we? Here we are now. I mean, it's pretty much incredible how we cover news, what we worthy as a breaking news story, how we kind of sometimes just put things up there and let it kind of happen. And then you're like, okay, eject. I mean, there have been moments where I'm like, I don't know if we should be on this right now, but who am I? I'm not, the person on TV right now. So,
right. I mean, if you think about it, I was telling my kids this, like you watch the OJ chase. And to me, I know the Mendez brothers had a little bit of court coverage, but OJ is the first that you literally watched from police chase through the way through verdict. Right. I mean,
all the way through the court verdict. And that was the first time cameras were actually allowed in a courtroom for a court case. That was the first time. So it puts into context like where we were and where we were headed. Little did we know that, the virtual Pandora's box was going to be opened. Back in the day, it was like camcorders, right? Scotty had the camcorder.
Yeah, the camcorder. And then Judge Ito said, sure, bring the cameras in. I want to be famous too.
Judge Ito.
Oh, Judge Ito. Oh, Judge Ito. Judge Ito was like the Judge fanboy. He was like, oh, I can get autographs from Magic Johnson? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not shady at all that I'm accepting these gifts. That's cool. That's good. Okay. I mean, perfectly okay. I mean,
if the glove
and no Nancy Grace,
you must have quit. I mean, it was like, it was a circus. It was charade. It was people who knew how to play the camera. I mean, there was a lot of all of that,
The dream team lawyers. Unbelievable.
And you look at those lawyers, I mean, Johnny Cochran, I mean, if you think about what he's did for civil rights and kind of his journey, I mean, you look at it now, back in the day, he was vilified because he was defending OJ. But I mean, look at Kardashian, right? I mean, that name, when we heard it, was just
nobody knew who he was.
He was just Robert Kardashian.
Yeah.
And
Robert Kardashian.
Now we have that whole family. Aren't we lucky? Like, thank you.
America's better for that. That's like America's first family. What are you saying there, Eric? What are you saying?
But there's a lot of conspiracy theories around Robert Kardashian. I mean, remember, there's the footage. He did take 2 bags that no one really ever. We don't know what happened to those. They kind of just disappeared. So
crazy. It was funny.
And somebody just brought up in the notes here, somebody, Patrick McDonald just said the dancing Itos on Jay Leno. I completely forgot about that.
The dancing
in the road.
Oh.
The dancing Itos. It was funny, and this will be the last we need of OJ, but while OJ was in the chase, they had a psychologist on the phone with Brokaw. And as OJ is saying, I got to get home. I want to shoot myself, the whole thing. I don't want to live. Tell my kids. The psychologist on the phone basically had OJ guilty and buried of the crime. He said, this sounds like a man who is not debating the fact that he did it. He's like, this sounds like a guy who did it and he doesn't want to be here anymore and he knows what he did. And it's fun. The guy had him
nailed,
vilified right on TV. It was I was laughing. It was so funny.
Hey, but now OJ's on Twitter and he's free. He's giving sound advice to guys like Antonio Bryant and Antonio Brown. And anyone else.
Twitterverse, it's me, the Juice. Hey, I love that's the funniest thing of all.
It's just like, hey, I'm doing my fantasy football. You want to be with me while I do fantasy?
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm like, this is the world we live in now, right? And now we've moved on.
Twitter. I love it.
But I mean, you got to think about that. I love talking about this topic because, reality TV, and you look at like Nancy Grace, right? When Nancy Grace used to just go, because we were watching, speaking of things we watch, I love watching murder shows. I don't know why, but my wife and I are like those whodunits that Netflix and HBO puts out. Like there's one about that dude in New York, the rich guy. He's kind of crazy. What's his name? Robert.
I know exactly what you're talking. He's an older guy with the white hair.
Yeah.
Very rich guy. What's his last name? They always show him sitting
Durst.
in Durst.
Is it Durst?
Yeah, Robert Durst. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh. Yeah, like, did you watch that documentary HBO did where they got him on film, basically?
That's what basically connected him. Yeah. The life and death of Robert Durst. Yeah. Netflix.
There's that one, and then there's one of the book writer whose wife died falling down the stairs, and he was implicated in that. And then we were watching another one, which on Casey Anthony, and we're laughing because Nancy Grace is in all of them giving her opinion. And I'm like, she's just got to be like the angry person. And then you see Judge Jeannie, who's now on, Fox, and she's all political now. But back in the day when she was talking about, crime, it's just funny to see them all fired up. And my kids are like,
she was a powerhouse DA in New York City. I mean, I covered many a press conference with Jeanine Pirro, and no one wanted to play with Jeanine. Jeanine came out. She was serious. She was a hard nose. She convicted, and she was all about that. I mean, she's different from the person I think she's on TV, because she has to be much more of a commentator and more. But when she was just legally dissecting the law and having to be a prosecutor, she was exactly that for the DA.
She's a firecracker. I met her in person. I was with a bunch of veterans. We were invited to go visit someone at Fox, Sean Hannity. I'll just say his name because he likes vets. I don't agree with his politics, but he invited us on. So Sean invited us on. He loves the military. So we're on his set, and he's meeting and greeting and doing all this stuff with us. And she's coming on, and she walks in, and she looks at, there's 5 of us. Mind you, we're all vets. And she looks at us, she goes, "Who the hell are you guys? Why are you here?" We're like, she's like, "Who told you could stand here?" And we all pointed to Sean Hannity. We're like, "He did." He did. And he's like, "Leave him alone." And then he's like, "Come over here and get in your booster seat." Because she's, doesn't fit in the seat that, like, she has to sit higher for TV. I don't know. I don't know the TV side of the house, but I just thought it was funny. So, these murder shows that are out there, there's so much that you can watch now. I mean, it's almost better than watching Forensic Files, which has those 80 vibes to it.
There's lots of good sociopaths in New York City. I mean, really, some of the crime. I mean, you just have to.
Autopsy shows are always good, where the medical examiner is breaking everything down and figuring it all out. I mean, it's wild. There are some cases that are crazy I never even heard of.
Listen, Robert Chambers. I mean, that's like New York City. I mean, that captivated what happened in New York City during that time in the late 80s. For a very long time. And, when he got out, and then he started selling drugs in his father's apartment. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, you're like, this guy was messed up from the get-go. But, his good looks and his charm, people were like, "Oh, the preppy killer? He couldn't." And a lot of it is like, kind of contextualizing how we kind of perceive people. And I mean, perception and reality. I mean, those are all things that we're questioning right now in our current life, about what the world is, what the world looks like, our prejudices that we were raised with, why we need to question it, why we need to change it. And, really educating ourselves on where we want our children to move. And how we want our children to live in a world that's different from ours, Yeah.
And just think, we started 2020 off, and we thought the biggest tragedy we were going to have to recover from is Kobe, right? When Kobe passed, we were all kind of struck in the chest.
Yeah.
I mean, I cried. I'm not going to lie. For several days, I was very depressed. I mean, I work with a lot of folks in the NBA. I mean, it was tragic. I mean, Mamba mentality, everything about Kobe, you just had to love. And I thought that was it. You're like, "Oh, we're fine. I mean, we're going to be fine. We lost Kobe. We'll probably lose some celebs, but 2020 is going to be a great year."
Yeah,
and then 2020 showed
everybody toasted. But we're going to be the best year ever, man. I love you. It's going to be the best.
I mean, Kobe, I think, was the first thing, and Scotty and I talked about it, where our children was my son's a huge basketball fan. And my children, for the first time, couldn't make sense of what was happening. Like, they were sad, and they didn't realize what he meant. He was their icon, and he was somebody that they looked up to. It was the first time that they felt a tremendous loss because of this tragedy, and being able to put it into words and explain to them. I mean, my son has, he has a hoop in his bedroom, and he's got R.I.P. Kobe. He took out his Crocs. He painted Kobe's number and the Lakers. I mean, we're New Yorkers. I mean, he's got Lakers jersey. He wanted it all. I mean, even now he talks about Mamba mentality. It's incredible.
So can we just back up for a second? Your son has a pair of Crocs.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that just wasn't going to let that slide.
Kids wear Crocs now, Scotty. It's like the in thing. Did you not know? They wear two different colors. They wear two different colors.
the one with the holes in them, the Crocs.
Yeah, they made a resurgence, like the scrunchies. Remember that? Remember the 80s scrunchies? Like the girls are wearing the twisties in their hair now. My daughter asked, and then they wear it on their hands like bracelets. And what are those?
Yes, that I know.
What are they called? The Soca girls or something like that? What are they called?
I don't
Oh,
know.
disco, right?
Disco girls. They have the water bottle.
Disco girls.
Disco girls. So
Father of an almost 16-year-old. I hear all of this.
Yeah, the Visco girls. I mean, it's like the weirdest thing. I'm like looking at my daughter. I'm like, what's a Visco girl? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Visco is like it's like an Instagram thing with pictures.
Visco is like a water bottle that costs $60. I go like this. Listen, there's a lot of other things we could do for $60 than save the world with this water bottle. Trust and believe.
Mine are into this thing where they do Snapchat, but they Snapchat like their eyeball. I don't know what that is. And I'm like looking at them because we went out. We all wore our masks, went out to dinner last night. And we have one of our daughter's friends is over. So I was laughing because we had a 13-year-old and two almost 16-year-olds sitting with us. And I was just kind of, it's fun to listen to them talk and what they talk about and kind of engage with them, because it's nice to be a teenager sometimes because you're kind of oblivious to all the things that we worry about. They're just like, we're on summer break. I'm like, you kind of been on for like a while now because you've been home and you've just jumped on Zoom calls and you had to, and it's funny listening to their friends. They're like, well, you know, Doug didn't do any of the assignments and Doug still got to pee. So we didn't even need to go to these classes. And I'm like, and that's funny. I don't know about you guys with your kids, but let's talk about schools reopening. We're looking here. And I know in Oregon, you know, we have power, but I know we're West Coasties too. Yes, I know it's below Washington and above California. Or as these Oregonians hate us Californians because we moved here because the cost of living it's ridiculous. It's like, it's a good life because we're not spending California money anymore and we get big houses and like these people love us. The locals hate us, but they're Oregonians. So really their opinion doesn't matter. But with schools opening, we were reading the guidelines. I'm one of those parents that sometimes goes to the PTA meetings and listens to the board meetings. Because we donate, we have a high school. I'm pointing to it like you're here with me, like over here. But about a mile from here, we have a school that almost kind of cost $1 billion to open. Beautiful high school, like 3-story, just gorgeous. Not like what I went to in Folsom, California, which I think the school's older than Johnny Cash. But seriously, I think it was. Like I met Johnny Carter Cash, Johnny Carter's son, and he's like, "You're from Folsom? We donated a trail there." And then he goes, "Did you know my dad wrote a song?"
Yeah, we all know it.
I'm like, yeah. And then I told him, I'm like, of course. That's like, I moved from Orlando to Folsom, culture shock, and got there. And that's like the first thing, you're Johnny Cash. You're like, okay. And then I'm like, there's a prison. Pretty cool. And then I saw Lyle Menendez and Rick James, both on Work Details. That's true. That's
you did Lyle Menendez. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Like he was just sitting. And Rick James, my mom and I was a freshman when my mom and I saw Rick James.
Who's Rick James, everybody?
It's like seeing celebrities.
New buff freak. He would have been like,
"Oh boy, Rick, the kind you won't take home to mother." Yelling over the fence.
Yeah.
Listen, Scotty and I want the kids to go to school. We're just like, let's do it. Put on a mask. Let's figure out the situation.
But have you seen some of the requirements that they're talking about for schools? Our school district, and I've heard this is pretty much nationwide, is they're saying each student needs 36 feet. Complete circle around themselves. I don't know about your schools, but that's a lot. Like a lot of feet. I'm like 36. When I was in boot camp, the drill instructor used to say it's a circle, right? It's his DI bubble. You don't come in this bubble because if you do, bad things happen to you. So you avoided the bubble. And trust me, they run up on you and you're just like doing this dance to stay away from them. Like, get away from me. You're doing your best OJ impression when he was running for Hertz, but not from
over the counter.
I don't know where a 35 foot, this is what I really would love to tell parents. Like, it's not going to happen. They need to set the summer up where kids are eventually going to deal with the reality that my kids are like, they're like, it's almost.
Where's my lunch, Ma? Where's my
my sandwich? My son is like, where's my sandwich? I'm hungry. Good, I know. Go say hello. Hi. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. I've heard that. Yeah. I don't even know if mine's up yet. I mean,
I'm hungry too.
My 13-year-old was up at like 1 a.m. last night, and he's banging. And I was in my office doing some late night work because we're prepping for a couple folks to head to Orlando when we start sports again. And all of a sudden we hear this banging. So who gets blamed for banging upstairs? It wasn't me. I got the 15-year-old daughter and her friend are over here. I got the wife coming up yelling at me. And I'm like, I'm sitting here peacefully in the dark with my LED lights on, and I'm kind of just writing quietly with headphones on. I lost track of time. I didn't even hear banging, and it was him because he was up a video game. I love these video games cause you to like your world ends.
I already put timers on everything. I'm like timer on this, timer on that. I mean, they're half. I think they don't even understand things. Especially young boys. I feel like they're not mature. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're going to be 11 years old. You should be. I asked him to go get detergent downstairs in the garage. I was like, it's on the shelf. It says detergent. He's like, what? I was like, it's on the other side of the car. And
I got news for you.
He goes like this, Mom, where on this bottle does it say Arm & Hammer? I was like, this says laundry. So if it's laundry, then it's laundry detergent. Does it have to actually say laundry detergent?
Yeah, you see the logo with the arm and the hammer? That's the logo. Suki, I got news for you. It doesn't get any better when they come home from college to visit either. They still can't do anything.
Really? I thought your daughter would be helping, cooking, cleaning, being a liaison for your daughter. Your younger daughter?
No, and no.
No, none of that works.
I just want to say thank you. It's been fun, Eric. I got to get going because the lunacy is starting to be like, hello, lady.
It's perfect. This has been great.
Tony Katane on the show tonight.
Remember from Here I Come, Tony Katane?
Bachelor Party and the White Snake videos. And also John DiDomenico, the guy who he does an incredible Trump impression and like 30 other voices. So we got him on tonight. And I tried to get Phil on with us today, but he said, dang, I'm on the road. So sorry. So he couldn't come on with us. But
hey, but we had you two, and I'm excited. I want to have you guys back on. I mean, maybe once a month.
We're here for you. We're here for you.
I love having you guys on. It's been fun. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed this epic fun time that we've had where we kind of talked about everything. So hopefully
a little bit of everything.
Hopefully. We talked about everything. We know a lot of things. And OJ. We talked about OJ.
We talked about a lot of things. Listen, I mean, the bottom line is if you need people to put things in cultural perspective, we're the ones for you.
Yes, absolutely. And the laugh.
Hey, universe. Hey! Did you guys see that national college game? Did you bet on Clemson like the Juice did? Unbelievable. I love it. Eric, thank you, my man. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you both for joining us. We'll see you guys really soon. I'll watch your guys' show tonight. Make sure I watch Scott and Suki show tonight. Thanks, guys.
Tony Katane, everybody. Tony Katane.
There you go. Look at that. And I'm going to go watch a White Snake video now.
Yeah.
Going down the only road I've ever known.
There you go. I love it. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Talk to you guys soon. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. That was it's good to laugh. I know we had serious subjects on the first hour talking to retired police officer Stan Campbell, but it's always great to have the Suki and Scott show stop by and get some laughs, have some fun. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Make sure while you're here, like our show. We're always looking for likes. We're trying to cross 1,000. And I know with your help, we could do it. Also, if you take the time, jump in, go over, check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. We're always trying to grow that. So if you don't mind just clicking that button, you see when we're on. We are going to get Philip Paz back on the show. Of course, Scott and Suki will be back soon. We have a good show. We have 2 more amazing guests joining us in the 3rd hour. And normally we don't do 3 hours. Normally we do about 45 minutes. But for some crazy reason, we decided to do 3 hours today. I don't know. My team isn't so happy. But hey, we did 3 hours. So our next guest, we're going to keep with the sports theme going. David Melzer is going to be joining us talking about his mission to help 1 billion people achieve happiness. He's got an amazing background working with the who's who in sports and entertainment, and at one time was the CEO of Lee Steinberg's organization, which they based the movie Jerry Maguire after. So you're going to enjoy that. And then Some of us have put on the COVID 20, COVID 30, COVID 40. So we have fitness guru and expert Edward Jakowski joining us to talk about the right exercise we should be doing. So it's a good Thursday show. So hopefully you'll enjoy that and check out what we're doing there. And of course, tomorrow we have a great show for you, kind of ending it on Fan Friday, where we'll be having some experts from the comic book world joining us to talk about that whole different vibe. So we don't want to keep it serious all the time. As you know, we start the week off pretty heavy, and sometimes on Fridays we're pretty heavy, but this Friday, that's what we're going to be talking about. So again, I appreciate everybody in the show watching us today. Thank you guys so much. I love all the comments in here. You guys have no idea how much it means to us when we launched the show. We're shocked that we're still around 45 days later and people keep tuning in and watching us and sharing and, getting folks like Suki and Scott to join the show. It's awesome. It's fun when you go from watching them to being a guest on their show to them being a guest on your show. It's kind of cool. And then, of course, Phil with his amazing voice. I love you guys for sharing all his videos when he was on here Thursday. So thank you for doing that. And yep, that's what we have for you. We'll be back on in about 10 minutes. We're going to take a little station break, as they say. And we'll be right back at the top of the hour for you to watch the show. Feel free to ask questions and comments for David and for Edward, and we'll get those questions answered for you. But again, on behalf of everybody here at To The Point, and thankful for our guest today, retired Oklahoma City police officer Stanley Campbell, and of course Scott and Suki for stopping by today, sharing, just making me laugh. I need a good laugh. It's early in the morning. It's good to laugh. So I thank you guys. I thank them on behalf of our entire team. We thank you. And as always, I'm Eric Mitchell. Be safe, be strong, be smart, and God bless America.